Good afternoon. I am Nishant from Samsung Mobile Partnerships. Sure. Oh, just these two? Okay. It's a pleasure to be here today. I would like to take you through a journey, Samsung's journey of how we built a new category product built out of India for Indians. At the centerpiece of the story is Adha. Adha has the fame of the fastest growing digital ecosystem in the world. There are quite a few digital ecosystems which are billion plus people. There's Google, there's Facebook, there's WhatsApp. But there are very few public digital billion plus people ecosystems in the world, and Adha is one of them. It took Adha about 5.5 years to become digital billion people. It took Android more than that. It's really powerful. We wanted to take this opportunity to build a product for India, a product that could utilize the biometric database that is available through Adha, and a product that allows us to build an open platform which lets developers launch services in India. And I'd like to take you through that journey. Adha essentially was built on 3 premises. It allows you to do authentication digitally, as many of you know. It allows you to do verification, which is paperless for people. It allows you to verify your identity digitally. And it allows you to sign documents, which means you could essentially sign your rental agreements, or you could authorize a party to receive your documents without being present there, just by authenticating it. More use cases. We wanted to build the device which allows us to take banking to the unbanked. There are a lot of people in India which are looking to open accounts so that they could go ahead and get loans from those banking agencies. It used to take several days for those people to open accounts, but when Adha was launched with a biometric real-time online verification, it takes them 4 hours to open an account. This was something that we were watching. We thought, let's build something to solve it. One more thing that we saw was earlier to get a pension payment, you used to take a guy to physically walk up to a place and prove that he's alive to get the payment that he wanted, which is the pension payment. Adha could solve it with a biometric verification, sitting wherever he wants. An agent can come to somebody's home, like your dad's place or your mom's place, and verify that it's like a live certificate. And it was a great, sweet use case for building a device on it. One more use case we saw was fast verification that allows distribution of the benefit to the right person to essentially prevent frauds, to prevent duplicate payments. And at that time, before Adha, there were about 16 million accounts which were fraudulent in nature, which allowed people to receive public goods like food grain or ration or a gas connection. But with government's drive, we saw that it's possible to use a live biometric as a verification to curb those fraudulent transactions. We also saw that with Adha, because of the eKYC, electronic know your customer, it's very easy to open a insurance account. It's easy to seek for a claim and the claim benefit goes to you. And when the money comes in, you sign it that you have received it. These are other kinds of drivers we saw. And of course, with eKYC, it's possible now to very quickly get a new SIM connection. And this we thought was another good driver. Now, so being in India, so at Samsung, we have a very large R&D center in India. We felt that we really connected with these use cases that Indians could use. We also saw that at the point when we started building it, there were not enough direct consumer use cases. There were not enough devices. There were not enough use cases to do Adha biometric verification in your home. So we thought that the right product is like a B2B product, a product that can be given to banking institutions, that can be given to telcos, that can be given to government agencies who could take these devices to people and do the transaction or do the verification. But in net summary, what we found was there were certain tools that needed to be put together into the device. So we make at Samsung mobile devices and tablet devices, but we felt that to drive a frictionless experience, we had to put in a biometric sensor into the device, like a fingerprint sensor or an iris sensor. We knew that when we are building a B2B or enterprise device, it had to be really secure because we are talking about people's biometrics. We knew that Samsung alone could not launch all the kinds of services that all our banking or government customers needed. So we had to build out a capability, like a software kit that developers can use and make applications that they want to make. With these premises, we set out to build out a device in R&D center in Bangalore. And we built an integrated device. It's a tablet with an iris scanner. So I would go through the journey, the technology journey on why we made certain choices, what kinds of problems we were trying to solve. Now, to do biometric transactions, the norm is that there's always an agent which carries the device. Now, there were a lot of fingerprint devices in the market where a user had to walk up to an agent and scan his thumb or the index finger or other fingers, and it was a contact type experience. Many times the finger will be dirty or sweaty, or the fingerprint would have been washed out, and there were a lot of times in the field that we saw that transactions would not go through, authentication would not go through, or KYC would run into a problem. So that gave us an insight to build out a iris scanning as a contactless at about a 20 centimeter distance, where the agent can actually hold the device and the user is on the other side, and it's a contactless iris scan at about 20 centimeter distance. We studied, we have quite a formidable biometric team in Bangalore. We studied what are the recognition rates between fingerprint and iris scanning. And iris definitely has a very high recognition rate compared to fingerprint. It's almost like a 4-digit PIN versus 6-digit PIN kind of security difference. So therefore, we built out an iris into our device. Now, we also extensively had to do field testing to make sure that our device works with men, women, children above 13. We had to make sure that it works in all types of conditions of eyes. Iris also deteriorates with age. When people develop any occlusion in the eye, like cataract, it affects iris recognition performance. We had to extensively pilot our device with UIDI to make sure that we could deliver a certain high 99.x% accuracy in the market in terms of acceptance rate. There are two things we talk about in biometrics. One is called acceptance rate, which is called false accept rate. How many times am I accepting a imposter? Okay, so that is one type. The other type is called false reject rate, which is how many times am I not accepting the right person. We built our device with a metric to never accept an imposter. So that's the holy grail. You shouldn't, any biometric device should not accept an imposter, and it should accept more than 99 times for a right person. So that's what we built it for. There were a lot of devices in the market which were attachment type, USB attachment type at that time. They were capturing a single eye. Being a mobile company, it was natural and easy for us to build a larger sensor which captures more than one eye, so 2 eyes at a time. It allows us to capture more information in the same amount of time and build out a fast authentication system. So we built it out, built out the device which could capture your eye in 5 seconds, both the eyes, and get a verification from the UIDI service within 7 or 10 more seconds. Of course, like I said, a lot of focus went into how fast is the authentication. We are talking about deploying our devices in 2G, 3G networks. We're talking about mobile agents like the banking agents who will come to your home and open an account on the fly on a 2G connection. Those are the challenges we had to solve, which means that when we sat down to capture the iris, we saw that the iris packet size had to be limited to a certain number of kilobytes. We decided to do it at it's a published spec on our website. It's a 3.5 KB, 3.5 KB for each eye. It's a sweet spot that helps us do a great recognition accuracy performance, and it's a small packet to be transmitted over a 2G, 3G network. Our customers taught us to build the device with enterprise-grade security, because these devices will be carried by agents. They will be carrying consumers' eyes back into the UIDI systems for verification purposes. So we had to secure down the camera. We had to lock down the buffers. We had to lock down how a hacker could go and tamper into the workflows. We had to spend considerable amount of time to solve those problems. And of course, on the left side, I'm talking about a quality sensor. So the whole design is actually, as you can see, is a combination of hardware, software, and systems optimization. How do you choose a sensor? How fast you capture? The faster you capture, the more errors you're going to make. So you got to capture. You have to give some time to learn which frame to pick, and then you have to learn to transmit the right grain, meaning how compressed is the image, how grainy is the image. Will it work for recognition? So we did that, and like I was talking about security, there is certain B2B devices tend to get tampered by the agents in the market. They would either root the device, they would try to gain access to the critical peripherals like the iris camera. So we sat down and we essentially locked down the platform into a secure bootloader, which means when the device boots, it knows that it is booting on the right bootloader. It knows that the root of trust is secure. It knows that this device has not been tampered with. Then we went ahead and got our device certified by STQC, which is a testing and certification body. It's part of DATI. So there was a fair amount of time spent there. Now, but all of this was done with a mission to build a core capability, and it would have been not very useful if we didn't export the core capability as an SDK for our developers. So luckily or by grace, we have a very nice developer ecosystem around Samsung devices. So we said we will take this iris scan capability and wrap it into an SDK so that our developers can come and build meaningful apps like micro lending, apps like, of course, standard apps like account opening, payment, cash deposit, cash withdrawal, micro ATM, I said before, things like electronic signature of documents. So for example, a guy could come to your home and scan the docs and you can just sign with your iris. So the SDK for our partners and developers, it was designed to give a flexible way for them to make apps. And we hope that everything we have done allows us to take the first step towards that aspiration to power digital billion people in India. Thank you very much. Any questions I can take? Yeah.
Once again, hello?
I think there are a few people who want to ask questions.
So right in the beginning when you spoke about the Adha motivations, there's a lot of social angle and social appeal to it and how it's going to be used. There's another social cause, which is I-donation. Just want to hear your thoughts about via this, is the ID theft or ID transfer is a potential thing that people are thinking about?
Yeah, so I didn't spend enough time on how the ID is transmitted out. So if you talk to anybody at UIDI, there are quite a few formidable architects who work at UIDI, from data security and from cloud and scalability and platform engineering folks from Intel or Google and PhDs. They have actually really done a great job in sitting down and adopting the world standards into creating a package where the moment the biometric leaves the device, it is as good as any military data that goes out of a formidable system like an FBI or the likes. Now, it doesn't mean it can't be broken. Of course, things can be broken, but there is a provision called lost biometric. And 99% of us, we don't know about that UIDI thought about in the event you lose your biometric or it's stolen, you can reset it. So reset means, yeah, you can recover your ID back. So, but short summary is that when the packets leave the device, they are encrypted, and the whole workflow from capture to processing to encryption is usually placed in a secure zone. And if you know the world of processors, a secure zone is a processor zone offered by the processor company like Qualcomm or Intel or the likes. Yeah. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much.